Hello, welcome to my channel and thank you for being here. Today I will talk about three images again, continuing from the extracting images from this mid-career retrospective call and response. And um, the images are about youth, children, youth, young, and these are sports-related images, thematically, that is. So the one you've seen at the beginning and that you're looking at now, the caption reads, "Soccer match on a sports field next to the Saprif oil refinery, Wentworth, Durban, 1995." And this image has gained quite a bit of traction because people love soccer, and it marries soccer and the most iconic image that greets you in Wentworth when you people who've been to Wentworth or who know that region well. The South Coast Basin, I think it might be called, known as. This huge oil refinery dominates the township that surrounds it, or is adjoins it, rather. And this oil refinery, being as close as it is to urban dwellers, has a huge amount of health risks. And so there's this uneasy symbiotic relationship between uh, a, a huge industrial facility that people rely on for work, and yet have experienced huge health issues as a result, as if Wentworth didn't have enough problems, notwithstanding the social issues that it experiences as a lower income demographic, and the associated images that are ravaging the community as we speak. As I understand it, Saprif is intending to close down now, and I'm not sure whether it's permanent or whether it's a relocation or whatever. But back then, anyway, there was this fairly well-maintained soccer pitch and a sports facility, an actual facility, and that was well used by the people of Wentworth and adjoining surrounding areas. And I was attempting to document Wentworth back then, begun a process of trying to document this township that I recognized as being worthy of an in-depth project. I kind of subsequently stopped because my colleague and friend Peter Mackenzie, who was from Wentworth, expressed the desire that he had, he had every intention to document it himself. And, arguably we could have done it together, but I kind of withdrew and allowed him to do it himself, which he did, and produced an exhibition which you should see, and as well as a documentary film called Vying Bozi, where he was going home literally to look at his township, and did it very differently to the way I had done it, in a way that I could never have done it as an insider, and did a great job of documenting his township. But the few images I have, and I do have quite a few images of Wentworth still, this is the one that is more iconic, I suppose, which shows that most of the kids here some of them have soccer boots, but most don't, and they don't have a kit, and so it kind of reflects that kind of and it's hard to photograph anywhere in Wentworth and not see this the ship that never sailed, as it's often described by Wentworth people. But Wentworth is such an incredible township, with all its problems, a huge generator of culture and language and life, just bustling, burning life, even with all the issues that it faces. So I'll move on to the next image, and I want to show you that these two images are lived side by side on the pages of Call and Response. In that and you'll see the similarity. As you see the second one, which is captioned "Rugby Field Next to a Sappi Paper Mill." Mandini, KwaZulu-Natal, 1986. So this image was done like 9 years before the Wentworth one, and this is a rugby field, and Wentworth is a soccer field, and these are white kids on the rugby field, and it tells the story of the way things were back then. I suppose apart from the Eastern Cape, rugby wasn't really such a big thing outside of that for black kids, and this was very much a white amenity, and next to the Sappi paper mill. And today, it's no longer a rugby pitch, but it's a soccer pitch as well, which is also a sign of the times in a way. And the interesting thing is that it is upwind from the paper mill. So the wind generally blew the very toxic fumes that you knew about when it blew in your direction away from this soccer pitch and away from this white community that were all located upwind from the paper mill, and the townships were all downwind from the paper mill and still are. And so even though this image might look somewhat dark and foreboding in the way that industrial places can appear, there was that wind factor which side of the railway tracks you were that determined which side of the railway tracks you were. And this image, when I showed this image, I tried to get into a documentary school in the UK at a place called Ghent, very famous documentary school in back in the day. And I showed them this image and some of my documentation, and they were just prepared to take me on immediately because this was the kind of thing that, sadly, I couldn't raise the pounds necessary to get in, and I didn't manage to get in there. But yeah, this documenting, how we live in symbiosis with industry, and which is a very necessary part of being human. It's a part of technology that we've created that enhances our lives. Paper, paper. Hello. My publication emerges from a facility such as this, and all the associated byproducts that come out of that. We just need to learn to be a lot smarter about how we coexist with it. Where exactly it's placed, and how we organize ourselves as human beings. And when we learn to do that in ways that are more equitable for everybody, not just for the corporates who own and the shareholders who own and the profit makers, that we see ourselves more generically as profiting from these industries. We learn to coexist with industry in ways that are far more equitable, even for the planet. It's done. It's possible. It can be done, and it will be. It needs to be. We need to strive towards being better in the way that we live. So the last image I will look at is the one you see now, which is titled "Children Hang Out at a Sports Ground," Bloemfontein, 1997. And yeah, this is also a huge spread of an image just to show you how it's used in the publication. And I was in Bloemfontein for the Makufi Festival, where I showed an exhibition in 1997 called On My Grandmother, called Madlao, simply. It was her colloquial name, the name she was known by the Zulu community in which she lived. And I think I also had some kind of a commission to photograph some of the festival for the festival. It was the one and only time I was ever showed there or had that kind of opportunity. And I visited this sports ground, and got this. I was gifted with this lovely picture of kids hanging out, literally, and the way that kids can do, and yeah, nothing much to be said about this image apart from its delightfulness. Um, in that the rite of passage of childhood is a precious one, and one that we need to guard with our lives. So I'll end it there and say thank you for watching. More information on myself and my work can be found on my website, a link to which, including my blog and email address, can be found in the video description below. If you like this talk, remember to click the like button and press subscribe. It helps the channel grow.